Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There it is. So it does. It's working.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, the meeting of the Planning Commission, we'll call it to order. Could I get Commissioner Ortiz to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Place your hand over your heart. Repeat after me. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He was used to doing that all weekend in state fairs.
Oh, no doubt. Will the Planning Secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Uva is absent. Commissioner Ortiz,
Present.
Commissioner Duarte,
Present.
Chair Owens.
Present.
Thank you. We have 3 commissioners present.
Thank you. This is the time set aside for oral communications from the Planning Commission. Does any commissioner wish to make an announcement or report on a conference or meeting or request items for a future agenda? Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing to report today.
Commissioner Duarte.
Nothing for me either.
And I have nothing, thank you. Does the interim community development director have any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Thank you. Does the interim community development director have any presentations?
No presentations tonight.
Thank you. Does the interim community development director have a report on city council actions?
No reportable actions tonight.
Thank you. Now is the time set aside for the public hearing for a conditional use permit application PLN 21-00177. This is continued from April 20. Does the planning secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, Chair, I have it right here.
Thank you. Will the interim community development director introduce the staff that's making this presentation?
Tonight, Guillermo Arreola, our principal planner, will be giving the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. Oh, of course.
You know, I might have to turn it back on.
Excuse me.
Maybe if I press the on button, it'll work. Sorry about that. Before you tonight is a conditional use permit application request for a permanent 1,420 square foot outdoor dining expansion at the Commons at Gallatin Road at 9516 Lakewood Boulevard. The lot size is 3.5 acres, developed with 2 buildings, 1 multi-tenant, 1 single tenant, and the property is zoned C2. Total building area is just over 18,000 square feet. And these are street views of the existing temporary outdoor dining. This is a rendering of what the outdoor dining will look like. The overall site plan of the site, and this is an enlarged area of the outdoor dining area. The applicant is proposing to create a permanent outdoor dining area that will include landscaping, flat iron railings around the dining areas, lighting, full height curbs, and matching herringbone pavers and the walkways between the dining areas, all to match the existing development. The point of all this is to make the area look like this is the way the site was originally designed. So, as opposed to the current temporary way in which it's developed. The project was originally scheduled for the April 6th Planning Commission meeting. However, the applicant did request that the project be continued and allow him to work with staff regarding the proposed conditions of approval. And to add, no department's expressed concerns over the project and issued standard conditions of approval. Staff also worked with the applicant to address neighbors' concerns that have been received since the April 6th Planning Commission meeting. And as a result, staff added conditions of approval to address those concerns. The conditions on the screen are numbered so they correspond to the conditions in the resolution. There's a condition that limits the level of noise at the property line. There will be no sound system installed in the new outdoor dining area. The owner of the property is responsible to make sure that the property is and the surrounding area is clear of debris, trash, litter at all times. Permanent signage outside at the driveway exits, stating that parking in the adjacent residential neighborhood is discouraged. Landscape maintenance, parking lot sweeping, outdoor patio cleaning is prohibited between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. Saturday through Sunday. And lastly, continue to include signs, permanent signs reminding clients, customers to be courteous to their neighbors and to keep noise low, and that they be evenly distributed throughout the site. We feel that these conditions will adequately address some of the neighbors' concerns. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ariola. Do any of the planning commissioners have question of city staff? Commissioner Ortiz.
No questions. Thank you.
And Commissioner Duarte?
Briefly, just one question. In terms of the new conditions that were added, 5 through 11, did you go back to the property owner and discuss those, and did that alleviate all their concerns?
Well, we did speak to the property owner. We crafted these conditions of approval, felt that they would address the neighbors' concerns. We relayed those, the conditions of approval to the neighbors that called in, and some of them still had issues with the current operations of the site.
Do you know what those issues were?
Yes. Excuse me, Linda, can you go back to the screen, please?
Mr. Chair, if I may, the conditions are proposed tonight. They haven't been implemented yet by the property owner. So the fact that there may still be some conditions that aren't that will be prevented by this. They haven't been implemented yet. Okay. We have, again, contacted the resident and the property owner, and both understand that we're trying to work toward a resolution.
Understood.
Thank you. Did you want me to elaborate, or?
Yeah, just if you could, what other concerns they have?
So some of the concerns were regarding street sweeping during the early morning hours, trash and debris accumulating on adjacent properties, whether it be landscaping debris or trash. Loud music being played in cars at the Tesla charging stations. Again, deliveries, early morning hours, and the pressure cleaning of the outdoor area. So a lot of it was noise related.
No, really? Okay. No further questions.
Thank you. To follow along with that, so when you say street sweeping, it's basically the lot cleaning.
Parking lot cleaning, I'm sorry,
Parking lot
yes.
cleaning, okay. And same thing with the deliveries. A lot of those services like early morning or late night, and not for, during, if you will, peak morning or mid-morning times. But sounds like in the conditions you read to us and that are sitting here, and they may be enhanced based on testimony provided by the public, that you've satisfied those things, that you've got some lot cleaning times more conducive to the public and their concern with noise and or disruptions. The same thing with the other things that you put together.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, great. That's all I had. Thank you.
Chair, if I may, I have
Please.
a quick question, just to clarify. So the owners know these additional conditional use line items, or they know? Okay. I was gonna wait for the owner to come up to ask that question too, but I'll wait till he gets there.
Sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Duarte had another question.
Yeah, just one thing for clarification. This is the proposed area will be 1,420 square feet. Is that in addition to what's there or in total?
It is replacing the temporary outdoor dining area.
Okay. How big was the temporary?
It takes up the same amount of space
Okay.
And it was set up temporarily to,
through the COVID.
through the COVID period?
Yes.
So now permanent. Okay.
Thank you.
Got it. Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. Before I open the public hearing and call the applicant or his or her representative, this would be the time for planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions that the commissioners may have had about the project. Commissioner Ortiz
I have none.
and Commissioner Duarte?
I charged my car this afternoon there.
Okay. And I have none, thank you. So now the public hearing is open. Will the applicant or his or her representative please come forward to give testimony?
Good evening, Matthew Rodman, First Enterprises. I'm the owner of the property. Thank you for having us this evening. We are very excited to accommodate the ongoing requests from our businesses that operate the restaurants at the property to make permanent the outdoor dining area, which has become wildly popular as a result of COVID. But things have quieted down with COVID. But outdoor dining remains extremely popular. It is an amazing environment. The entire courtyard is operating exactly as we intended when we developed the property from the former Downey Ford that was abandoned for years into this amazing community asset. It's very exciting. So we have, as Guillermo has indicated, we have incorporated design elements that, within a few months, no one will really know it wasn't part of the original operation. We have had discussions with the community, and a number of community residents have done our best to address those concerns, have worked with staff to let them know what we can and can't do and how best we can operate as a property owner to address those concerns. And we look forward to having a really beautiful space here in the next many months. Any questions from you?
Thank you, Mr. Rodman. Commissioner Ortiz, questions of the applicant?
Thank you. Yes, just one. Did all those conditions, did you review any of those that you agree or disagree with?
We have reviewed them all, and we agree with all of them.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Duarte?
No question.
And I pretty much had the same comment, is that I believe there's people in the audience to speak about this enhancement. And I know that certainly, as Mr. Ariola presented, certain conditions, and it was brought to our attention that we would, discuss those obviously and bring maybe some additional things. Are you ready for that?
Ready to have that discussion.
Okay.
I think it is important to understand, Commissioner, that this is a commercially zoned property. We are operating next to residential. We have done for 6 years a tremendous job. We've had absolutely zero complaints to the police department, zero complaints to code enforcement, zero complaints to ABC in all of those years. However, I've had, as I said, discussions with the community, discussions with staff. We've addressed many of those items of concern now that we know about them. Community has my phone number, literally calls me on my cell phone if something comes up. And, that's as good as it gets with a landlord. So, but I would be pleased to come back after we hear from some community members and have that interaction.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak? I'm sorry, has there been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
Mr. Chairman, we did receive phone calls from 3 neighbors, and they range from noise complaints to parking complaints in the neighborhood. The items that I brought up were the issues that they brought up.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may also point out, as noted in the staff report, there was a letter of support in the application from Supervisor Janice Hahn's office.
Well, thank you, okay. All right, so at this point, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposition of this application? Please step up. And for the record, your name, please, and address.
Name and what else?
Address?
Oh, my name is Ramon Medina.
Come on,
Address?
Come forward.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Name is Ramon Medina. Address 9525 Arrington Avenue.
please, Mr. Medina.
Thank you. You know, on the property in question, I had some brief conversations with Mr. Rodman on the phone regarding some of the complaints or issues. He said he was going to take care of some issues. We spoke. We really haven't done too much yet. As a matter of fact, I just got a street sweeper coming through the parking lot, and it was texted by one of my neighbors who couldn't be here, Mr. Castillo. And he actually took a videotape of that sweeper again at, I believe it was 2 in the morning. I'm sorry, 4:18 in the morning, and this is on 5/3/22. And that was one of the chief complaints that I had. Why are we allowing this noise to come through the parking lot, especially if there shouldn't be any noise between 7 and 10? And so that was one of the issues that brought up my attention. And also delivery trucks coming to the Golden Corral and these other properties that we're talking about with the poached egg and coffee bean. Some of those large trucks, they come in there at about 4 o'clock, 4:30, and they're loud because they're lowering the tailgate. And they're making a lot of noise, the chains that they have, and it seems when they fence with the pallets, they just throw them in the ground. So that was the number one complaint that I had about the noise. And every once in a while, some of the businesses allowed power washers to come there after hours to clean their mess. Those things are loud and obnoxious. And that's what got me started to say, wait a minute, well, they want to make this property permanent seating outside, and I get the trend of a lot of cities allowing open seating, entertainment, or whatever you want to call it. That's fine with me, but just not behind my wall, because they attract a lot of people that come to the parking lot playing loud music, burning rubber, and everything else that goes in there. In addition, lately we've seen an influx of cars going into the property, into the adjacent streets, parking into our streets because there's insufficient parking spaces. We have a couple of photos that we took of the sign that addresses, there's a sign posted in there that says additional parking across the street, but that's not going to alleviate from the original plan of how these businesses are supposed to have so many spaces available for the businesses. And my understanding too, there's a new restaurant coming to the Mas Chingon restaurant.
In that vacant?
In the same property. It used to be a pizza place, so I don't know if it's the same owner, different owners. I haven't quite got it, who's doing what. But my background's in law enforcement. I just recently retired about 4 years ago. And the only reason I bring that up, and I know that we used to get complaints on businesses, they sell alcohol and people partying. And that's the last thing I want to do. And behind my wall, which I've been a resident in Downey for almost 28 years, raised the family there, and I've been here for a long time. And when the Ford dealer was there, they had a little amount of noise during the daytime. After that, crickets for the most part.
All right. So,
Mr.
Mr. Medina, your time is up, and certainly you've addressed what we had been presented to us by staff and the applicant. So appreciate your comments. The applicant heard, he has a chance to rebut, but you're out of time. But again, thank you very much.
But I do have some photos indicating some of the stuff that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And videos.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to rise to speak in favor or opposition? Good evening. Could we have your name, please, for the record and address?
Yes, hi, my name is Peter Carrillo, and I am the general manager at Poach Neighborhood Kitchen, located at 9510 Lakewood Boulevard in the city of Downey. And I'm here to speak on the subject that we're all here for, which is to request to allow a permanent 1,400 square foot outdoor dining expansion at the Common Plaza, which is located at the Commons at Gallatin Road. Now, I want to use this time to share with you my Poach Neighborhood Kitchen experience and remind you how valuable and important your decision is and how it can affect not only our community, but our employment. That 1,400 square foot outdoor dining area that exists right now has now become a home to thousands of community members. Community members that Poach Kitchen serves every single month and can do so because of that extra space. Now, I've been a part of the Poach Kitchen family for almost 2 years now. My experience has been that of a dream for anyone seeking new opportunities in the food and beverage industry. What we do at Poach Kitchen is strive for something that we will never accomplish, which is perfection. Now, striving for perfection only continues to challenge us and help us learn and grow as a team. And we know by being consistent at what we are striving for, we are satisfying the needs of our community. Quality food and great customer service. With the leadership of one of our successful community business owners, Jimmy, and with the support of his wonderful family, Poach Kitchen is an example of a success story for local businesses and has become a gem that represents the city of Downey. You don't have to take a 30 to 45-minute drive to the west side anymore. We have a wonderful breakfast, brunch, and lunch restaurant right outside your doors. We are hiring students there. We have kids fresh out of high school and college students applying and being hired at Poach Kitchen. They come with their families to eat on a beautiful Sunday morning, and they observe and they tell themselves, I want to work at Poach Kitchen. I want this to be my first job. Why? Because not only do they look around and see families having a great time, but the staff is enjoying what they do. I know this because this is what they tell me during their first job interview. Any new hire will have the opportunity to learn great food and beverage skills, front and back of the house, and make good money in doing so. Poach Kitchen is constantly looking for ways to give our staff incentives, ownership, and investing in new ideas, new in-house projects to continue to evolve and be able to reward our staff front and back of the house. And by doing this, we are getting the best from our team that's helping us give the best to our community. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg you, please do not handicap our community neighborhood kitchen. Please do not force us to cut hours. Please do not, and most importantly, please do not force us to turn away our youth from a wonderful first job experience. That outdoor seating area has been a game changer in so many beautiful ways. We have been able to double employment because of it. Now, I hope you will continue to support local businesses that allow them to serve quality ingredients to their community, and one that truly cares. I want to thank you for listening, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Is there anyone else who'd like to rise in favor or opposition in regards to this application? Okay, so seeing none, now's the time to ask the applicant if he would like to provide a rebuttal.
Thank you, Commissioner. As was pointed out when we started the hearing, the conditions in front of you tonight are proposed conditions. We have not implemented those conditions because we don't have an approved project. And once we go forward and we're raring to go, those conditions obviously will occur. I will point out, I know parking is always an issue everywhere we go. This site is 20% overparked, even with the outdoor dining area taking up some additional spots. We're required to have 231 parking spaces. Pardon me, we have 231 parking spaces. We're required to have 192, so we're exactly 20% over. We can't do much more than provide more parking than we need. The time may come where that may not always be the case. We'll just be to code, but we have very, very popular restaurants with the community. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Commissioner Ortiz, Questions?
No other questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Duarte?
Just one. I see the new proposed conditions, and I think they address a lot of the concerns from the neighbors. The only one that I do not see is in terms of deliveries occurring, in the, 4 a.m. as stated by one of the citizens here. Is there anything in place to have those deliveries after 7 a.m. and no later than 10 p.m.?
So the city of Downey does not have an ordinance limiting the delivery times in this area. I'm not sure if anywhere in the city for that matter. If that ordinance existed, I would have the ability to then go to the tenants, of which of course I have a contractual obligation and I can only do certain things. And I could say to them, you're not complying with the code. And then I have remedies. And of course the city would have remedies. But short of that, I don't have the contractual ability to tell my tenants, you can't have a truck deliver or you can't do work in your unit. They're subject to the ordinances of the city. So no, there's nothing I can do about that. What I can do is what I've agreed to do, which is in the common areas, deal with the sweeping, deal with landscaping, deal with things so that they are not happening at 4 in the morning. And we'll implement that along with this project.
Thank you.
So not a question, but a comment, and it continues, this part of the discussion. So we heard testimony from another operator, on your property, and certainly there is an additional operator on your property that is not in attendance. So you're going to speak in behalf of this enhancement. The other operators spoke in behalf of their business, and certainly the third isn't here. But the whole point of this is that you heard it, we heard it, the resident brought it, and I'm hoping there's a little bit of sympathetic, thought going on to their, their pain, if you will. And I know the fix here. The fix was we can condition it to fix it, per this application. We don't have the other applications in front of us from the past to fix it there. But I'm just hopeful that there would be some common thought from the property owner to its tenants about your delivery. And I get it. Everybody needs that stuff first thing in the morning. So maybe there's some common thought out of this so that that time can be moved a little further, if at all possible. Certainly we'll deal with your application tonight. And also in regards to outside of the common areas, the parking lot sweeping, we know that the larger trucks will have backup warning, horns on them. That's a nuisance when you're trying to get that last half hour, 45, or if you're retired, just trying to, make your day. So we all get that. I'm just hopeful that everyone heard, certainly you did, and everyone here did, and maybe we come out the other end with some common, common goal or common fix.
100%. We're a neighbor just like everybody else, and our tenants' customers are our neighbors. So we're all living in the same area. We want as many people to be happy as possible, and that's why we have dialogue with them. So yes, those are discussions I can have with tenants, and if they can somehow make those changes, they will. Sure. But it's the sort of thing where I need to kindly ask as opposed to impose.
Yeah, and you're right. If we had something in place, certainly that drives the outcome, but we don't. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So at this time, the public hearing is closed. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval of the proposed resolution. Chair, I do have one item that I wanted to clarify for the record. The question was asked earlier if the proposed permanent outdoor dining area was the same size as the temporary. There is an expansion. Currently, the temporary outdoor area occupies 5 spaces, approximately 1,000 square feet. The new permanent will occupy 7 spaces, 1,420 square feet. So it's an expansion of 2 additional spaces.
Okay. All right, thank you. So now is the time for the planning commission to deliberate. Does the commission have any questions at this time, or would the commission like to discuss the item? Commissioner Ortiz, you have comment here.
I think this is going to be a new normal to after COVID. I'm a frequent customer to Poach, so I understand where they're coming from, and I think this is a great addition for outdoor dining. So I'm going to be in favor of this.
Thank you. Commissioner Duarte, comment?
Yeah, along the lines of Commissioner Ortiz, I think we have like two issues here. One is the expansion of what's there already for, like you said, the new normal outside dining. And the other is, issues with the actual lot. Yeah, when I look at the permanent outside structure, it doesn't seem that a lot of the issues that were brought up are actually a hindrance to that. And with the new conditions, it's more about the sweeping, the noise, and the debris, which are on a condition here 5 through 11. So I think it's two different issues. I don't believe making this a permanent outside structure would hinder some of the concerns from the citizens. So I'd also be in favor of this.
Thank you, Commissioner Duarte. I agree as well. We had a lot of a really developed presentation by city staff, and as Commissioner Duarte pointed out, it's the conditions in item 5 through 11 address the sweeping times and the delivery times and the other nuisance items, if you will, that had been brought up. Does it fix everything? No. Like I said previously, I would be hopeful that the other operators in attendance would, hear the same dialogue, from their neighbors, and because their neighbors are using your businesses, I'm sure, and want to. So I think this is a good enhancement. I was always a fan of outdoor dining prior to COVID, during COVID, of course, and continuing it now. I think it's another enhancement. I enjoy sitting outside rather than sitting inside, so it's a personal thing for me, but I'm in favor of this project. And I think the conditions have addressed the concerns, and I also think it meets the findings. So at this time, I would entertain a motion.
A motion to pass PLN-21-00177.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Could Madam Secretary please take roll?
Go ahead and do this electronically.
Okay.
We'll do this electronically, Chair, so you can vote now. Thank you. The motion passes 3-0 to approve PLN 21-00177.
Okay, I want to remind the applicant that the action of the Planning Commission will be final unless the matter is appealed to the City Council with the appropriate fee within the next 15-day period as set forth in the city's municipal code. Thank you. Now is the time set aside for public hearing for PLN-22-0015, which is a site plan review. Does the planning secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, Chair, I do.
Okay. Does the planning, will the interim community development director introduce staff making this presentation?
Tonight, we have Alfonso Hernandez, our senior planner, giving the presentation.
Good evening, Chair Owens and members of the Planning Commission. Tonight, you're being asked to consider a site plan review for the construction of a new medical building. The applicant is Annie Tran. This is an aerial of the lot outlined in red. It is located at 9432 Telegraph Road, near the intersection of Telegraph Road and Court Avenue. Here is a segment of the city zoning map. The property is found within the city's C2 zone. The properties to the north are located within the city of Pico Rivera and developed with commercial uses. The properties to the east and west are also zoned C2 and also developed with commercial uses. However, the property directly to the east also has one residential unit. Lastly, the properties to the south are zoned R1 and developed with single-family homes. Here is an image of the site as it looks like today. The total size of the lot is 21,866 square feet and has been vacant since 2019. Various applications have been submitted in 2019 and 2020. In 2019, a lot line adjustment was approved to group 2 parcels. They used to be 2 separate parcels into one. In 2020, the Planning Commission approved the construction of a new 7,000 plus square foot medical building and a zone change to eliminate parking buffer as one of the designations. This application, if approved, will rescind that previous site plan review. The zone change was approved under a separate resolution and no changes are required for that resolution. Here is an image of the previous approval. The new building will be 5,378 square feet. It will have a floor area ratio of 0.25, a height of 19 feet. Landscaping will occupy 13.5% of the site, and there will be 27 parking spaces. Here is the proposed site plan. Telegraph Road is located to the right side of the screen. The building is positioned close to Telegraph Road, but mainly along south property line. The site will have one point of ingress and egress. And I could tell that it's a little messed up on the screen. I hope it's not like that on your screens. But later on, if you have questions about the site plan, I'm happy to answer. Here is a view of the proposed floor plan. There will be 3 total tenant spaces. 2 of the tenant spaces will be designed as shells, but will later be improved through the building permit process when the spaces are leased. Here are images of the north and west elevations. The style is best described as modern architecture. The building uses mix of materials. We can see large amounts of glazing at the corner of the front tenant space. Wood planks will be used above each tenant space. Stacked stone is found along the columns and head of the 2 rear tenant spaces and the side entrance of the front tenant space. The same stacked stone is found at the east side of the front elevation. A vertical wood feature resembling slim wood columns are located towards the middle of the front elevation, and the remaining materials are stucco in dark gray tones. In conclusion, it is staff's opinion that all findings can be made in a positive manner. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so does the Planning Commission have any questions of staff? Commissioner Ortiz.
Just one. The reason for their change from the 3-story to the 1-story was out of advice of city staff or their own choosing?
Their own choosing.
Okay. Yeah, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Duarte, questions?
No question.
And I have none. Thank you, Alfonso. Before I open the public hearing and call the applicant or his or her representative, this would be the time for planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visit or pre-hearing discussion that the commissioner may have had about the project. Commissioner Ortiz.
I have none, Chair. Thank you.
And Commissioner Duarte?
None for me either.
And I have none. At this time, the public hearing is now open. Will the applicant or his or her representative please come forward to give testimony? Hi.
Good evening, Chair Owens and commissioners, planning staff. Thank you for having us this evening, and thank you for your time. We are very excited about this proposal for a medical building with 3 tenants. The unit number 1 will be occupied by the owner, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Ortiz, questions?
I have none. It looks great.
Thank you.
Commissioner Duarte?
Same, no questions, comment, looks good.
Same here. I like the renderings.
Thank
Nice
you
looking
so
building.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. Great presentation.
And so, Madam Secretary or staff, has there been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No correspondence.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposition of this application? Please.
Good evening. My name is Robert Arana. I live at 9424 Telegraph Road, which is adjacent to the stated property. Last time I talked to you guys, we were on Zoom. I requested a 6-foot wall, and the plans had a 5-foot wall. So I don't know if Alfonso knows that. I talked to the city, and they said there's no variation going from 5 feet to 6 feet, but I'd prefer a 6-foot wall, so would the neighbors behind the said property. The other question I have is, I live on the west side, and the end of the property is, of course, on the east side. There's an elevation difference of about 4 feet. So I'm wondering, when they smooth out the land, I just want to see it 6 foot from their elevation on my side. Otherwise, I don't really have any opposition to it. I worry a little bit about parking. I got a lot of parking in front of my place. Mm-hmm. People are going to naturally go to the easier spot than go in a driveway, but what can you do? And that's all.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions on his comments? No one? Please, Crystal.
Chair, if I can ask for clarification, there was mention of a 4-foot grade separation?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that on the rear or along that side property line?
It's from the west side, and if you go to the east side, the elevation increase is approximately 4 feet on Telegraph Road.
Okay.
So
And you were requesting that the height be measured from the
whatever
the
the
west
grade
side?
is,
The highest.
whatever the grade is from the height is fine. But I live in a residential house right beside it, and I just prefer a 6-foot fence, and so would the neighbors in the rear of state of property. And I don't know. Last time I addressed this about a year ago, I don't know if that changed or I'm not sure.
We're in public hearing, so I just wanted clarification, and we'll discuss it after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all?
If that's all you have.
That's
yes.
all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to stand up in opposition or support? All right. So at this time, does the applicant have any rebuttal comment?
We would be happy to provide the 6-foot fence as requested by the resident neighboring us. So that's going to be no issue for us. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
And before you go, are you aware of this? Is it dirt that can be moved to level from the 4-foot difference, or is it just the fall of the natural terrain? Do we know? Are you aware of this?
We will have our civil engineer make adjustments to the site so that it will be
Drains
appropriate,
properly and- yeah.
right, for the drainage. And we will maintain the 6 feet as requested from the residents.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay, at this time, the public hearing is closed. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes, staff recommends the planning commission approve site plan review PLN 220015.
Okay. So now's the time for the planning commission to deliberate. Does the commission have any questions at this time, or would the commission like to discuss the item? Commissioner Ortiz.
I think it looks great. I wish they would have kept the first one. It looked really nice. But I'm all for the approval of this line item.
Thank you. Commissioner Duarte.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks great. I think the applicant being, just very generous to work with the citizens concerned. Also, the 6-foot wall, I think that kind of alleviates any concern for me. So I'm for it.
I would agree with both commissioners. Looks great, and it's the applicant sounds like they'll take care of the interest of the resident in the neighborhood. So, fantastic project. Thank you. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve PLN -22 -0015.
Can I second?
So we have a motion and a second. Could the secretary please set up the voting?
Please vote. Okay. The motion passes 3-0 to approve PLN 22000015 for a site plan review. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, I want to remind the applicant that the action of the Planning Commission will be final unless the matter is appealed to the City Council with the appropriate fee within the next 15-day period as set forth in the city's municipal code. Thank you. Now is the time set aside for public hearing. This is a special event application, PLN-22-00040. Does the planning secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, Chair, we have the proof of publication.
Will the interim community development director introduce staff making the presentation?
Alfonso Hernandez, our senior planner, will be giving the presentation.
Thank you.
Good evening again. Tonight you're being asked to consider a special event permit for a carnival to take place at the Our Lady of Perpetual Help School. They previously hosted the event in 2019, and they have been hosting the event regularly since 1998. This year's event will take place between May 13th and 15th. This is an aerial of the school outlined in red, located off of Downey Avenue. It also fronts Latina Avenue to the west. This is the corresponding zoning for the subject property. The site is zoned R3 to the east and R1. Sorry, I'll start over. To the east, it's zoned R3 and R1. And the lots are developed with multifamily structures. To the north and south and west are R3 zoned properties also developed with multifamily structures. Here is an aerial specifically outlining where the event will take place. The event again will take place from May 13th to May 15th. That's Friday through Sunday. The setup will take place no sooner than Wednesday, May 11th, and the site will be restored no later than Monday, May 16th. Activities will include carnival rides, jumpers, games, food booths, live entertainment, and alcohol sales. The expected attendance is a maximum of 2,000 people throughout the entire event. Here is a layout of the carnival. To the left of the screen represents north and to the right, south. To the north will be the majority of the larger carnival rides. The smaller rides will be located along the west property line abutting Latina Avenue. Food booths and carnival games will be located towards the center of the layout. The beer garden and bar lounge are outlined in green. And lastly, a stage for live entertainment is outlined in blue. Here is another aerial showing the designated parking areas. The school has 3 parking lots, and the church, which is located south of the school, has an additional parking lot. In total, there are 181 spaces. The police department requested that there be a total of 4 uniformed officers, security officers, and that a security guard be present at the designated alcohol areas. And in addition, due to the alcohol sales, that police officers be requested that 2 of them be requested, or present rather. In conclusion, it is staff's opinion that all findings can be made in a positive manner. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfonso. Does the Planning Commission have any questions of staff? Commissioner Ortiz?
They haven't changed anything since 1998, have they?
We noticed that there's a beer garden and a bar lounge. So they've added the bar lounge as an overflow from the beer garden.
And that was implemented what year?
It'll be this year. It'll be the first year they do the bar lounge.
Okay. The only question I had is because for these types of events, like for our churches, for our schools, if there can be any more quicker way for them not to apply, and then just be a more easier transition for them. But they just added this beer garden this year, correct? So they have to come in
Yes.
front of us. Okay. No questions.
Thank you.
Just
Duarte,
yeah,
please.
just a quick follow-up to that. Is that why the additional security was requested by the police, because there was an additional beer lounge this year?
No, the police department had the same consistent condition throughout the years.
Okay. So this doesn't change anything?
They didn't request any changes. They were the same.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't drill down into the conditions, but I had brought this up in previous years when the applicant, applied for the same thing. Are we using the parking lot across Downey Avenue, St. Mark's, not in this plan? Because the thing I had brought up previously is crossing people, cleanly from east-west, across Downey Avenue from that parking.
They are using that parking lot. We hadn't received complaints about people crossing. I imagine they are. There's nothing in the report or the application indicating they'd have crossing guards or anything like that.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. Thank you. Before I open the public hearing and call the applicant or his or her representative, this would be the time for the planning commissioners to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions that the commissioners may have had about the project. Commissioner Ortiz?
I have none, Chair.
All right. And Commissioner Duarte?
None.
And I have none. Thank you. At this time, the public hearing is now open. Will the applicant or his or her representative please come forward to give testimony?
I can do that. My name is Michael Bolliger, common spelling Michael Bolliger, B as in boy, Olliger, 10042 Side View Drive, Downey, California.
Please, Mr. Bolliger.
Okay.
Tell us about this year's carnival.
As stated, we've been holding this since 1998. I'm a 12-year resident of Downey. My son is in the 6th grade at Our Lady of Perpetual Help. I've been involved with the carnival there for 8 years. This is my first time as the guy running it.
Short straw. No, I'm
Yeah, short straw, exactly. So Crystal and Alfonso, I must say, have been nothing more than helpful and shepherded me through this process, so thank you. But I'd like to say it's a community event, a well needed at these times community event fundraiser hosted by Our Lady of Perpetual Help School, not for Our Lady of Perpetual Help School. Everyone's included, everyone's welcome at our event, and we're very proud of that. As far as listening to you, I'm a retired sergeant from the Inglewood Police Department, so and the crosswalk to St. Mark's has always been a concern of mine. So we're going to have portable lighting up the crosswalk as well as crossing guards, because we don't need any issues there. I like to try and run a tight ship. So I've already spoken with the Special Operations Sergeant at Downey PD. They have been scheduled. When we say the bar lounge area, it's basically the daycare playground. It's just a place where no alcohol will be sold. It's just an overflow area from the bar area, which will go lead directly there if we need more room, and that's it. So it's just a place to sit down, but not to purchase any sort of alcohol. We'll have guards at the 2 ingress and egress points, wristbands, and ID checkers.
Great. Okay. Does any of the commissioners have questions of the applicant?
No
Commissioner
questions.
Ortiz.
I'm excited for this event.
Thank you. You're all welcome. Please come visit us.
And Commissioner Duarte?
No, I think the applicant's presentation alleviated all concerns I might have. So.
Me as well, thank you. The lighting is a definite addition from years past. And to be cognizant of people trying to cross that street, especially when the downtown may have, some activities and after-hour stuff, that are running, same with the hours of operation for the Carnival, people driving too fast. So good, thank you for adding, those enhancements.
The lighting, crossing guards will have safety vests on, luminant, glow in the dark.
Great.
So we're trying to cover all the bases.
Great, appreciate that. Okay, so that's all we had, and thank you for addressing, and bringing all this forward.
Thank you all very much.
You bet. So, Madam Secretary, has there been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No correspondence.
Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to speak in favor or opposition of this application? Seeing none, no rebuttal time necessary. The public hearing is now closed. Does planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve special event permit PLN 22-00040.
Thank you. It's now time for the Planning Commission to deliberate. Does the commission have any questions at this time, or would the commission like to discuss the item, or would the commission like to move a motion forward?
Motion forward.
Okay.
I think we do that.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion at this moment.
Motion to pass PLN-22-00040.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and second. Could the secretary please take the vote electronically?
Thank you. The motion passes 3-0 to approve PLN 22-00040 for a special event permit.
Okay, thank you. I want to remind the applicant that the action of the Planning Commission will be final unless the matter is appealed to the City Council with the appropriate fee within the next 15-day period as set forth in the city's municipal code. And it's now closed. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
And look forward to a successful event. Okay. Next on our agenda is non-agenda public comment. This portion of the agenda provides an opportunity for the public to address the Planning Commission on non-agenda, consent, and other business items within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission and not listed on the agenda. It is requested but not required that you state your name, address, and subject matter upon which you wish to speak. Please limit your comments for non-agenda items to no more than 4 minutes pursuant to the Brown Act. No discussion or action other than a brief response, referral to the city planning staff, or schedule for a subsequent agenda shall be taken by the Planning Commission on any issue brought forth under this section. Is there anyone? None. Consent calendar. So in front of us tonight is the February 17, 2021 minutes. Let's see. So I'm absent, so we probably can't.
We cannot.
Have to hold that over, or I watch the video or the tape, or
You got the short straw.
I got the short straw. Okay. All right, I will do that, and we can hold that item of approval or consent over. Do we have any new business, or does any commissioner have any business to discuss? Crystal, to introduce election of officers. So we have an opening for vice chair.
I nominate Horacio Ortiz as
I
vice
second.
chair.
All right, so with a nomination and a second, looks like you're the short straw. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Does the interim community development director have any additional comments?
We would need to vote.
Oh, vote this, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
she's going to pull up the vote right now.
All right, please open up the voting.
Nobody abstained.
Yeah. Yeah. Phew, got through that one.
Very.
Okay,
Elect Commissioner Horacio Ortiz as the vice chair.
congratulations. Okay. Now, Crystal, do you have any other business to bring to us this evening?
No business this evening.
All right, and how about any additional comments?
No additional comments.
Okay, so at this time, the meeting is adjourned.